Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Walter's Rear Window. Claire and I are going to be talking about our Oscar picks for the Academy Awards coming up March 10th. We're super excited about everything. As you know, we've been on a mission to watch all of the Best Picture nominations. Some of us are further along than others, but we're going to have a conversation about it anyways. Let's get into it. Okay. So just to refresh your memory, listener, our Best Picture nominations there are 10 of them. There is American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. So I have seen now all of them except for American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Poor Things. Claire, how many Best Picture nominations have you watched so far?
Okay, so I am almost done with watching everything. Almost. So I haven't watched Anatomy of a Fall. That's the foreign picture one. That's French. And Zone of Interest and Past Lives. Those are the three I haven't watched.
So we have actually, between us, almost seen all of them except for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Which I'm not gonna see because
I don't think I'm going to either. That is way too long, and
it's 3.5 hours.
Yeah, listener, you can come for me. You can get mad at me if it wins the Academy Award for Best Picture. Then
it's
I
not
will.
Gonna win.
I don't think it's going to. I feel okay about skipping that one. But what have been your favorites so far, Claire?
Okay, so I really like Poor Things. I think Emma Stone did a fantastic performance. She would be my pick for Best Actress.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think she did a really good job. I really like the style of Poor Things. It's out of the 10 films, it's definitely the most stylized, other than Barbie. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
No, Poor Things is the one that I haven't seen.
Okay. But yeah,
but I love the director, and he is known for being very stylized.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's almost like a surrealist quality to the film, which I like.
Okay.
I think the story is also very interesting. It's definitely a feminist film in a way that's more like subtle. You know how Barbie was definitely kind of more in your face, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Poor Things is definitely more serious. It's not Barbie.
Interesting.
And
okay.
There's a lot of there's a lot of themes about drugs, addiction, gambling, prostitution, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Poor Things. So yeah, we're not going to try to spoil anything just in case you haven't seen it, but there's genital mutilation in Poor Things. That's one of the scenes. Yeah. And that may be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's one of the scenes near the end.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I had a good time with it. If anything, this would be my pick for Best Picture, but I don't think it's gonna win.
Okay, what do you think is gonna win?
It's probably gonna be Oppenheimer. I mean, it's on our bingo card.
I know, I kind of think so too, and I'm disappointed because this year I really did like a lot of the options. I've seen a lot of them. Let's see, the ones that I have seen that you have not seen are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, and The Zone of Interest. And it's kind of interesting because I found a theme among a lot of movies this year, not just the nominated Best Pictures, but in the ones that I've watched recently, a lot of what's going on is the filmmaker is kind of refusing to give you what you want, which is really interesting. I mean, we see that in, Claire, you've seen Saltburn, the relationship between the two of them, they never kiss or anything like that.
No.
And so it's kind of like that in a lot of these movies as well.
Okay.
Where, Anatomy of a Fall, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a big question that you want to know the answer to, and they don't give you the answer. And that's kind of been a theme in a lot of these movies, which I found to be kind of interesting. It's a little bit of a withholding year for movies.
Anatomy of a Fall is also the French film, right?
It is. So it's half in French and half in English.
Oh, okay. I wonder did you feel when you were watching, did you feel like seeing it in subtitles, gave you a different vibe versus if you were to know French?
Definitely. I think that's actually something I was going to talk about, and people are probably going to hate on me for this, which is totally fair, but I watched a lot of these movies on my phone, and I do that because I tend to pay closer attention to it when it's on my phone because I can't go on my phone and scroll while I'm watching it. And so I think I tend to pay closer attention to foreign language films because I have to be reading every line or else I'm going to miss it. So Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, and The Zone of Interest all were either foreign language films or bilingual films. And I tended to pay like the closest attention to those because in order to know what was going on, I had to be reading the subtitles. So I think, I think it kind of makes you think about things on a level that you wouldn't maybe think about them otherwise. Like if it had all been in English, I probably would have zoned out a little bit or kind of tuned it out, kept it on in the background. But I was kind of enthralled the entire time. And that movie, Anatomy of a Fall, it's very good. It's long. That's another theme of all of these movies.
It's
like a lot of them are really long. I think the shortest one I watched was either Past Lives or The Zone of Interest, which were both clocked out at about like an hour and 45 minutes. But the rest of them are 2 hours plus 3 hours if we're feeling crazy. And that's just so long. That length of movie feels way too long for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you. A lot of these films, I feel like they could cut at least an hour out or at least just 30 minutes out.
I definitely agree. And I think that, like, especially with Anatomy of a Fall, it was very interesting because I had kind of a similar sentiment about Oppenheimer, which is both of them, part of the film surrounds a trial, right? Or like a case, a court case. And I sit here and I'm like, I think so much of that could have been cut. So much of it could have been cut down to make the movie a reasonable length. And there are really interesting moments in Anatomy of a Fall. The child, the boy who plays Daniel, the son, is phenomenal. He's an excellent actor. But there are so many parts of that film that feel very unnecessary, that feel very just added to tack time on almost. And I felt the same way with Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, they were definitely like way too long.
And you haven't seen The Holdovers, right?
I haven't.
Okay, so The Holdovers was kind of the outlier for me, because that movie, it was good, it was cute, but it's a Christmas movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was kind of like really confused because it is very much like Paul Giamatti is the Grinch who stole Christmas and then he gives Christmas back. And that's kind of the movie.
Okay.
So it's good. And there are some laugh out loud moments. It's really funny and cute, but it's definitely not Best Picture. I kind of felt the same way about Past Lives. That's one you've seen, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
How'd you feel about Past Lives?
I thought it was a little boring, honestly.
I did too. There were moments in it that I really liked, and I thought it was really sad, but I don't think that it was Best Picture.
No.
This one is one of the weaker ones on our Best Picture list. I put The Holdovers on the weaker ones on this list, and then Maestro probably is.
I feel like we're kind of on a weird like rom-com romance film type of journey or like type of trend nowadays, and there's just so much of it that Past Life didn't like exactly stand out to me.
Yeah, I think there are parts of it that I really liked, and then there are parts of it where I was like, I'm not sure. Past Lives was another example of like a very withholding movie where you don't get what you want in that movie, you know?
Yeah.
And so again, like with that theme, it's been kind of fascinating. How did you feel about American Fiction?
Okay, so I love American Fiction except for the ending.
I haven't seen it, so okay, but you liked it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is about. So the American Fiction is really, really interesting. It's about this upper class, kind of very intellectual African American writer / professor who is really, he doesn't like how a lot of like woke media portrays African Americans as kind of like a lot of black stereotypes. He wrote like a satire of a book as kind of like, because he was fed up with it. He was really angry about the fact that his own editors said that his work is not black enough. So he wrote this satire of a book where he played like a international felony, a convicted criminal, as like a satire. However, the book got ended up being like his best work or like best-selling work, commercially successful. And then it was so funny. There was this one scene where he was on a call with like the publishers of the book, wanting to promote them, and he just like, and like the people on the other side were like, well, I just think this is such like a good African American story, blah blah blah. And then he was like it's like the whole book is like all about Black stereotypes and trying like kind of feeding into that. And then he said, what if we change the book title to fuck? And then the publishers, like, they debated back, and then they were like, yeah, I like that, it's so real.
Oh my god.
And then like you could just see like this poor professor, he's just like, his face, the acting of him is superb. He was just like, so Jeffrey Wright, he plays Monk, which is our African American professor. He was like, this is exactly what is wrong with like this society, like in his own face. And then
that's really interesting. That's okay. So I'm gonna add that I have to see that one. I'm not gonna skip that one.
So I hated the ending because the ending kind of goes nowhere. Like it is one of those like non-resolution endings in a way.
Follows the theme of the year.
Yes, kind of. But I think this film is so funny because it's kind of like classic example of be careful what you put out there, because he put out this book wanting to like, as a satire, wanting to like mock sort of those Black stereotypes that a lot of Black writers are kind of forced subject to in order for their work to kind of sell. And then eventually this satire book became his hit, like his commercial hit. And he even tried to sabotage it by changing the title to fuck. But then they were like, oh yeah, that's so great.
I'm kind of fascinated. I feel like I need to watch that movie. That's definitely still on my list.
Yeah, it's a really interesting film, I think.
Okay, so that's definitely still on my list of need to see. I think the only one I'm going to let myself get away with not seeing is Killers of the Flower Moon, because I have so little interest in that.
I really have so little interest. Interest.
Yeah, I think I made myself sit through all 3 hours of Oppenheimer. I did it. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, like, I don't know. So far, my favorite movie, because I haven't seen Poor Things, and I know Poor Things is going to be up there for me. Mm-hmm. But I really like, my favorites so far have been Barbie, obviously.
Yeah.
Probably The Zone of Interest, just because it was so different. It was very different from any other Holocaust movie I've seen before.
Mm.
And maybe Anatomy of a Fall, just because I kind of liked the ambiguity in it, and I thought the acting was phenomenal. The other ones, yeah, like the weird ones to me were The Holdovers, Past Lives, and Maestro, where I'm like, these are a little bit out of left field options for me.
Yeah, definitely. So what's your pick for Best Picture other than Oppenheimer?
Best Picture, if I could give Best Picture, it's weird. I mean, I haven't seen Poor Things, and I'm going to be honest, none of these movies really wowed me aside from Barbie, and that was a point in time, you know? Like, that was like a moment, but it's not that moment anymore. And so I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I don't know what I would vote for. Probably, I guess I would give it to Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know if it's just because I've seen it so recently, it's just like fresh in my head, but I did like it. I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. None of these wowed me though, if I'm being honest.
No.
What about you? What's your pick?
So my pick is probably Poor Things, just because I think it's the most interesting other than out of everything. And then my second pick, maybe American Fiction, just because, even though I hated the ending, but just because I feel like a lot of African American central films that gets nominated for Best Picture all have to do with kind of like the Civil War. But this film, it touched on that a little bit, but it gives you a different perspective on how come it's always like that for African American writers and African American films makers.
That's interesting. Yeah, it flips the script on the normal narrative. That's interesting.
Because it's basically about this professor who is African American, and he is fed up with these stereotypes and how he feels like Black writers and Black creators are kind of forced into like what he said, trying to have to make their work more Black for it to be commercially relevant.
Yeah, or to make it marketable.
Yeah, or to make it marketable. And I think that's a very interesting message to send.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated. I haven't seen or heard a story like this before, so I'm kind of curious. I want to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We're close. I mean, we've almost got this whole list done.
Almost.
Pretty excited about it. Aside from Killers of the Flower Moon, y'all are just gonna have to tell me how that was. Like, I'm not gonna watch that.
I'm not gonna watch that one either. I don't know. I just want to. I mean, it's Martin Scorsese. It's Leo. It's a Western. It's 3.5 hours long.
That's all I really needed to know. Not Best Picture.
It's a crime drama with Martin Scorsese. Like,
yeah, like I don't know. I feel like it's interesting also because like last year I felt so strongly about Best Picture. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once and I was like, yes, I love this movie. I want this movie to win. And this year I just feel so meh, like nothing has jumped out at me. Well, and I've seen all of them, almost all of them now.
I will say the one thing about Killers of the Flower Moon is Lily Gladstone, who is nominated for Best Actress, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She is the first ever Native American of like Native American descent to ever be nominated for Best Actress.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which, if you think about that, that is kind of sad.
That is so sad. It's like, that is so, it makes so much sense, but it is, yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. But amazing at the same time.
That is, yes.
We have to take the wins as they come, I suppose. But yeah, like, I don't know. This year was a very meh year to me. After sitting down and watching all of these, my initial opinion on it was a lot of these came out of left field. I was not keeping an eye on these for Oscars season all year long. I wasn't expecting a lot of these picks. And if I'm being honest, after watching them, I still feel the same way. How do you kind of feel about everything?
I mean, I kind of feel the same way as you. I did not feel like it was the strongest one.
Yeah.
You know, like I think last year's was a lot more exciting.
Yeah, me too.
You know?
I think it's interesting. Like it is definitely year to year because there are some years where I'm like, there's no way they're going to be able to pick a Best Picture. All of these movies are so phenomenal. Like I'm so excited about it. And I'm not really feeling that this year. I'm still very excited for the Oscars. There's going to be so much drama and the dresses and the red carpet and the acceptance speeches. But yeah, the movie list did not light my soul on fire this year. Here's hoping for a better list next year.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I feel like the lineup is also a little bit weird this year. You know how last year we had two like kind of action-packed films that was nominated. So Top Gun was nominated, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once, which actually won, was also part of Best Picture. And then you also have like other like Triangle of Sadness was also like more indie films was kind of like scattered in.
Yeah.
This year I feel like it was a lot more indie films, and then there was just Barbie, the commercial hit.
Definitely. And one thing I also noticed is like this year was a year of biopics. Like there were so many movies about real people this year, which I am getting really tired of.
I was kind of surprised the Priscilla one didn't get nominated.
So was I. And on top, like, because Priscilla, let's see. Okay, so the ones that I can think of off the top of my head right now are Maestro, which is nominated, Oppenheimer, which is nominated, Priscilla, and Iron Claw is the other one. And those are all biopics, which is kind of crazy because like I feel like that has been kind of a trend. Like we're running out of stories to tell, so we're just telling real people's stories. It's almost like that era when Disney just started making
remakes of their cartoons.
Yes. And it's like, we know that story. Can we do something different? And so like I do think this year has been kind of a weak movie year. There are definitely some good ones in here, and that's not knocking any of the nominees. But I do think that compared to last year, I was a lot more excited about the picks.
I feel the same way. Okay, so should we talk about Best Director and then Best Actor and Best Actress? Like what we think?
Sure.
So I don't really care for Best Director because Greta is not there, even though I feel like she should be.
I am in the same boat.
And so we're going to move on.
So that's our pick for Best Director.
That's our pick for Best Director. Moving on to Best Actor. My show is not my favorite film, but as we all know, Birthday Twin gets
You're gonna have to
my preference. So I'm gonna root for Bradley Cooper. What about you? You said Killian on the bingo card.
Yeah. So I realistically, I think Killian's gonna win. But I actually really did like Bradley Cooper's performance in my show. I thought he was good.
He has a Leonard Bernstein, right? He was pretty good.
Yeah, he's good. You know, I think Oppenheimer is going to win. I need to see American Fiction. That's probably the only one that I think could seriously fight with Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me know what you think after you watch American Fiction, because I'm curious to see. It's definitely a very interesting take, I feel.
Okay, I'm fascinated. It's definitely on my list. Yeah, so I think Best Actor, let's say Killian.
Okay. And Best Actress?
I am going to say Sandra Huller.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was really good.
Okay. I'm going to say Emma Stone as in Poor Things.
Yeah, okay. So we need to flip-flop because I haven't seen Poor Things and you haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall. So we both have our work cut out for us on that one. But I think...
But who do you think is realistic going to win?
Realistically, Emma Stone.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. I mean, Emma Stone's a phenomenal actress, and B, this is a different role for her, which I think the Academy will appreciate.
Okay, what about Best Supporting Actor? Are we going for Gosling?
I want to. Hold on, I need my list. Where is supporting
I'll tell you.
actor?
So is Sterling K. Brown from American Fiction. He plays Cliff, which is which is Monk's gay brother. His performance is not the strongest one. There's a Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon. I haven't seen that. Not going to. Do we think Robert De Niro needs another Oscar?
No, I think he's fine.
He's fine. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. Don't agree. Don't agree. We have Gosling as Ken.
Love him.
And then Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. I think I'm going for Gosling.
Yeah, me too. I love him. And I think he'll have something to say that like needs to be said if he does get the award. And I think he will give nods to the right people if he gets the award. So I am rooting for Ryan Gosling on that one.
Yeah. Also, I just think it would be so funny if Ken won an Oscar.
I would be like, that would be amazing. I'd be like, I'm so happy for you, Ryan.
Guys, do we think if he wins, Mattel is going to put out a Ken winning an Oscar?
Oh my god. Yeah, or like a Ryan Gosling Ken. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Ryan Gosling Ken at the Oscars though.
Yeah. Ken on the red carpet. That'd
Ken
be so
on
cute.
The red carpet.
We're doing free marketing for Mattel right now. Coming up with these great ideas.
Oh yeah, they should put out an Oscars line.
Right? I would love that.
So Best Supporting Actress, we have Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, which I feel like Kitty was just kind of like there.
Yeah, so did I. I didn't think she was very good at that.
I don't really understand why. Whatever, I guess, is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple as Sophia. I haven't seen The Color Purple, so I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. American Ferrera and Barbie. Jodie Foster, and then Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers.
I think I'm gonna have to go with America Ferrera. I love America Ferrera. She's in Superstore, which is like a sitcom. And that's like one of my comfort shows. Mm-hmm. So like I'm already kind of biased towards America Ferrera. I really like Divine in The Holdovers. She did play a smaller role, and it was a very dramatic role, but I've never seen her in anything else, so I don't have a lot of context for her outside of that.
Okay.
And then the other three I either haven't seen or wasn't super impressed with. What's your vote?
I think America Ferrera in Barbie. Just because I feel I haven't really seen the other ones, and I like her performance in Barbie.
Yeah, me too. I think it was a good one. She should get the Oscar for that one.
Okay, last one. Best Original Song. I really want I'm Just Ken to win, and I hope there's a performance
of I'm Just Ken.
I'm Just Ken.
What else was there? Let's see.
Okay, so is The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot, which I haven't seen yet.
Not seen that.
Oh, that's another biopic.
Another one?
Yeah, it's another biopic.
That's crazy.
It's directed by Eva Longoria.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, and then there's The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. I'm Just Ken from Barbie. It Never Went Away from American Symphony. The Song from Killers of the Moon. And then What Was I Made For? Also from Barbie. Didn't Billie win a Grammy for that song?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, then she's probably gonna win.
If I had to guess, that's definitely, like, realistically speaking, probably What Was I Made For? Hilariously speaking, I'm Just Ken.
I hope like Ryan Gosling performs I'm Just Ken. Like,
that would be funny if he performed.
If it just opens with Ryan Gosling, I'm Just Ken.
That would be great, honestly. That would be very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited for the Oscars. I'm excited to see what actually takes the awards home, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we have a bingo card being released pretty soon, which is exciting.
Yep.
So if you're watching the Oscars and you want to know kind of what we're thinking is going to happen, download the bingo card and play along with us while the show is going on.
Our theme is a shot every time you get something happens.
Yep. So get drunk with us, watch the Academy Awards this year, and feel very cultured and part of the conversation. It'll be great.
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to download the Oscars bingo card from our Instagram account @WaltersRearWindow. Happy Oscar weekend.